I know you guys are excited for the conversation. If you could, also, you guys, make sure you stay active in the chat as well and let us know what you think about the conversation. If you have any thoughts or insights, drop that in the chat and we'll be capturing some of your questions and some of your comments as we go throughout the show as well. And then secondly, please share the video. All right, if you're feeling extra generous, it takes less than a second to do as well. You can share to any social media platform you're on, and you can even share it via text message. And last but not least, we will be reading super chats at the end of the show. So thank you to those of you who help keep the lights on here on the show and go the extra mile and contribute. Now, I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. I want to say what's up to the people real quick, and we'll get right into the show. Shout out to my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E is in here first thing in the morning, doing what she does, and that's be amazing. Y'all, she does so much with setting all this up and the production behind the scenes. Y'all see her in the chat, so make sure you show Amy some love and follow her over on X as well. We got Virginia Wiley is in the building as well. There's so many of y'all in here. Guys, I appreciate y'all, and we're gonna have a great conversation today, so make sure you get ready for it. Let me go ahead and bring up our very special guest back for another round, man. I guess we did okay the first time. Shout out to my favorite senator. I'm gonna keep saying it. Senator Greg Dolezal is in the building. Good morning, brother. Good to see you in here.
And great to see you. I did love being with you last time. Collaborate. To Amy E as well. I guess she's the one strategic vote.
She does, man. Yeah, shout out to Amy, shout out to Flo. They do a great job collaborating. We just get to show up and talk, so it's a great thing. I appreciate you being with us this morning, man. We're down to the wire when it comes to this election getting revved up, and I'm excited to hear from you about what you've had going on with your campaign. We even talked about some things in the green room that are going on here in Georgia as well. So, I want to let you have the floor, and specifically, we'll go ahead and get into this story that you actually made me more aware of what's going on in Macon, Georgia, with this crazy story. With this therapist running election, it's a whole crazy situation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so man, it is wild. So we have essentially another Democrat-led fraud scheme here in Georgia. I was shocked. We had 3 state legislators earlier this year indicted for COVID-era fraud. Yeah, and it was like the media just ignored it. Nobody talked about it. It was ignored in the Capitol. I think honestly it's because it was Democrats. If you had 3 Republicans indicted for fraud, I think it would have been nonstop, cover to cover on the AJC. Yeah. That being said, Macon, here's what happened allegedly in Macon. So the election supervisor, the person in charge of running the elections in Macon, her clerk have been indicted for fraud. And what the indictment alleges is that it's not election fraud. This is just kind of personal let me get rich fraud. Yeah, there was a therapist, and the therapist was illegally, allegedly, but this is, went through the indictment process already, billing for therapy sessions that never happened. Well, in order to bill for therapy sessions that never happened, you need people's names to bill for. And the election supervisor was in on it. So the therapist was the election supervisor's name, the clerk's name, submitting these invoices, getting paid, and then getting a cash kickback to the election supervisor and her clerk. But my favorite thing about this, these people just have no shame. One of the Macon County commissioners came out and told the newspaper, well, she's just the same person she's been the last 3 years, other than the fact that she got indicted. Other than the fact that she was indicted for fraud, she's fantastic.
Wow.
So it's crazy, man. And they get away with it, and it's seemingly it's rampant across the country. And the problem is,
okay, so this sounds like they're using the voters' names to do the billing. Okay, but one problem. Now you're putting something mental on their jacket that isn't theirs. You're putting something on their healthcare jacket that isn't theirs, and I will sue the crap. Okay, I'm talking about all the way to heaven. I would sue. You go to qualify for a certain job. Oh, your mental health history says that, we can't hire you. You want to get a weapon or something. Bro, listen, we got to start taking this stuff seriously. People who are doing these crimes should not be able to practice in office, okay? Just like we need to work on what we got to do with cops if something happens, right? This paid leave, I don't know about that. Same thing with people in office. You can't stay in office if you're being indicted, if you're being under charges. Once you're indicted, you got to come off. You got to come off. We'll see what happens when it's over with. Tiffany shouldn't be able to run. Tiffany indeed has charges. Tiffany indeed. We already know Tiffany. We already know what Tiffany has done. It's a doggone shame, and I can't believe y'all want this skank on the ballot. I can't even believe it. And that hearing, we gonna get into that because that was a bunch of bull. We gonna get into that. It was a bunch of bull. Okay, it's ridiculous. Y'all don't take nothing serious, and that's why this is the state that we're in. You don't care about nothing but aesthetics, appearances. This girl sat right there and stood right there and said, I have a boutique or whatever. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows I'm a resident because, you know, they're always coming up there, taking pictures and stuff. Bro, you doing a little extra. Y'all think she's a celebrity? This is another leech who's here to take. She and her boyfriend is here to take. And she even said it. They said, aren't you a mayor? Aren't you a mayor in Chicago? I mean, I lost the election. But how you telling us you've been here, a resident of Fulton County, Georgia since May? And your opponent wasn't sworn in until May 5th. You're still mayor. So you're trying to register before you can even before you even done being mayor. And then you're governor of a township, a supervisor of a township. I mean, once I lost the election in February, therefore I moved. Hold up, it don't work like that. You don't just pop up and bob out because you lost the election. But I want to go down here and set my sights on Fulton County in February. When you got to uphold that position as mayor all the way until the new mayor sworn in. You're still mayor. So for February, you move to Fulton County. And you get the ball rolling. And you don't even get a driver's license and your car registration, your business register, all of that stuff until February 2026? Boy? Huh? What? Huh? Mm-hmm. And you want people to say, oh, you're a resident. And what is this with the board? First of all, why was the guy helping her? I'm sorry. Why was he helping her? Why was the dude helping her? He looking up stuff that will help her. Oh, you can't count her driver's license against her because it's not mandatory that she have a Georgia driver. Since when? Son, listen. You also, on top of that, let's be clear. You need a what you call it? An ID. Nobody mentioned an ID. Nobody. They just said, oh, you only need a driver's license if you plan on driving a car. And she said she don't plan on driving a car. Her boyfriend does the driving. So we're not going to worry about that one. Tell me y'all don't want Tiffany. No, tell me y'all want Tiffany without telling me you want Tiffany in Fulton freaking County. Bro, what? Okay, ID, same thing. Driver's license, ID, same thing. Driver's license, ID, same thing. It's about identification. If a cop stopped you and he said, let me see your ID. This is how Atlanta is. This is how Georgia is. So real bad, real bad. County, cities, everywhere. County, cities, everywhere. When you move, they want you to put Change your tags. Go down to DMV. Pay that money. Change your tags so it can say the county that you live in. So that county can get your tax. I'm from North Carolina. North Carolina don't rock like that. I can move from Raleigh to Fayetteville to Dunn, anywhere. Same license. I don't need to change it. And if I get another car, I take that license off that car. If I don't want to drive that car no more, call my insurance company, let them know, switch it over. Put my tag on it. Not Georgia. Bullshit. You move to a different county. Your shit say the county you on, and you gotta renew on your birthday. It's true to date where I'm from. October 10th, that's when you renew. Period. If you move to another county, you got 30 days. You're supposed to switch your tax over. Oh, this is the most surveilled city. They know what's up. They know how long you've been living here. It's been longer than 30 days. Why you tax? Okay, I got you. I'm finna hit you up. Your birthday coming next month and you just renewed it, it's due on your birthday. So here's another thing that makes that unsafe. If I see you, baby, I know what county you in and I know your birthday. Okay. You mean to tell me they're gonna sit up here and say it's all right if Tiffany had an Illinois driver's license? Not only that, she also registered to freaking vote and freaking her previous state. At the same time, she's scrubbing in on the ballot. But you know what they're gonna say? This is the bullshit they need to be discussing too. This finna be a good conversation they finna have. Okay. I lost it that quick. Tiffany still was mayor. How you gonna be mayor up there but getting on the ballot? Oh, this is what I was gonna say. They're not saying you have to have been a established resident for a year before getting on. They're saying you have to be an established resident by the time the election come up. What? So I could just flop over here. Hurry and go over here. Boom. Let me hop on that shit. Let me establish I'll be good and established by the time the election come up. And you just getting there? Who this is? How is that? That doesn't. Okay, so tell me you got low standards without telling me you got low standards. Then this is what she doing. This chick know how to hustle. She gonna run as Democrat. I mean, a Republican. She was always Democrat. Why is she doing? Oh, cause she don't got nobody running against her. What else? The lease. The lease. Here's my lease. And I was like, okay, what about your bills? You got some bills? Something to say you pay bills? No, it's included in my rent. Can we see your lease? First of all, why y'all didn't also call the leasing company? Call the landlord? No. Forget what Tiffany and her man is talking about. Verify the information. Call the leasing company. Call the landlord. Ask them to verify that this is accurate. Not just call them and take whoever on the phone. You know what she did. You know what she about. And even if she didn't, if you putting somebody in a position of power over people, listen. vet them. Vet them. Call. Have them send over the formal documentation. Look them up. Make sure they're legit. It's easy to fake anything. Okay, they hand her the lease. She hand them the lease. It says that the tenant, is responsible for the power and electricity. Do you have any bills? It's paid in my lease. I pay it all. I mean, it's paid with my rent. I pay it all with my rent. You know, at the address that y'all got all over. Bitch, you trying to be no, excuse me. You are a public figure. Your address is our address. Okay? It's all our business. Anybody in the office, y'all work for us. You ain't got no privacy. You don't, your house is our business. All day. Because you need to stay qualified for your position. We need to make sure you're doing your job on top of that. And this is what we're not doing. And these people over here getting bank with money that should be for us in the way that we need it to be. And then y'all sit around and moan and groan and complain. Oh, this is... Especially when it comes to things that matter for your own children. All of this does. This is their shit. You're supposed to be making sure it's good for them. And you're supposed to also show them how they're supposed to handle their business. Not sit up here and let these fools get in here and break bread with each other. And then get in these positions of power and just work the system. Work it all over your ass, bro. All over your ass. And then she came to Fulton County. And I'm not going to ever give her no props. I'm not giving you no props for being a clever fucking criminal, crook, thief, liar, cold-hearted, sneaky, manipulating bastard. Anybody who can take from just hundreds and thousands and do all the worst dirt over and over again every single day. Wake up, eat, sleep, dirt that you doing amongst all the people. She did that shit in her hometown. Where she from? What the fuck you think she about to do in Fulton County? And she knew exactly where to come. She knew exactly where to come. This heifer, she couldn't wait. And she literally said more than one time at this meeting, I lost the election. Therefore, and she said, they also said, that's why I came over here to, we migrated, came over here to Fulton County. So I could jump on y'all shit. Okay? I'm the biggest boss that you've seen thus far, okay? I'm here. I'm finna Cookie Monster about to take your cookies. Okay? What kind of, you're not just busting up in somebody's stuff that they already got shit going on and they know what they doing and they, you know, that. So these people collaborated and they agreed to let Tiffany in, because I guarantee you ain't a straight person in that damn Fulton County office. And if they is, they ain't in the clique and they ain't gonna be that long. So the clique decided that they gonna add her to the roster and they gonna let her in. Because if not, she wouldn't be getting it. They would have done a better job. I can't believe that's what I'm looking like. What? Y'all slow too, huh? They act like they don't barely know shit. And they didn't back up, verify nothing. Oh, you don't have a bill. Your lease says that the tenant is responsible for the bills. I mean, I could show you online where I pay. I can show you a screenshot or whatever that I paid, and it says water. She never said electricity and gas. She said water and trash. That's in my rent too, bitch. Is it most people rent? She said water and trash. I can show you I can pay water and trash over and over again. I'm sitting here looking like, fuck is going on? Man, if I was at that meeting, they would have had to kick me out because I'm not gonna sit there and listen to this shit. And she never pulled the shit up. I could. First it was I could email it to you. Oh, I could text you a screenshot. Um, oh, girl said if you pull it up, can I get your phone and take it over there and show it to her? She never fucking showed it to him. And that's still not enough. I don't care what you show me, ho. That could be fabricated. And you paying water and trash? We all do. Hell, they'll hit you for pest control and won't do no controlling of no motherfucking pests nowhere, especially Tiffany punk ass. Then they try to find out, okay, the residence where you're at. It ain't mine. I don't own it. I don't rent it. None of that. Well, it had to be in somebody's name. Whose name was it in? So she really was beating around the bush. But these people didn't even know about this is shit that really got me hot. I'm about to throw something. These people didn't know about Tiffany. The attorney didn't know about Tiffany. No, bullshit. Before I have you before my board, I don't care that we're just trying to establish residency. I don't care what it is. I'm serving the people. I'm here to protect the people. Because when you sit up there and say, according to Georgia statutes, you have the option to be discretionary on what evidence you take and use to determine whether or not she qualifies, then you have the obligation to know who the fuck you choosing to qualify. And they don't even know who Tiffany is. They don't know her past. How can you not know? She destroyed a lot of lives. She sucked her township dry and her city dry at the same time. Mob style. Mob style. They are straight up crooks. Evil. These are facts. Are you gonna let her hop on the election somewhere else? I gotta drive to her goddamn boutique right now. This is in my fucking neighborhood. And y'all shiftless. You shiftless because you ain't fucking. Y'all want her. You think that shit is cute. You think that shit make you look good because it's Tiffany fucking Henry. Who the fuck is Tiffany except for somebody who don't give a fuck about you? This bitch spent all that money on that ice skating rink. Y'all money, mind you. And wouldn't even let y'all use it. She wouldn't even let y'all have town meetings. Your required meetings. Y'all remember all the shit Tiffany did to them people? Huh? Firemen and shit crying because they can't even go to the get doctor and shit because of the she canceled the fucking she wasn't paying their health care. We can do this all day and then tomorrow, the whole week. Evil. She's fucking evil. And her and her boyfriend. And then she's on the ballot. It's on the ballot. And they're gonna let the people vote. It's just so many different things. How can they be so incompetent to sit up here and debate over what establishes residency? There's no in between. There's rules. There's statutes. It's cut and dry. It's what it says it is. Then the board has leniency to be able to decide whether or not they're gonna use this factor information, that factor information. That's not fair to the people because you know what? It should be black and white across the board. Qualifying information is qualifying information. Required qualifying information is required qualifying information. You should not be able to say as a board member, because I don't know what the fuck is your motive. Okay? Underneath, we can't see deep down inside of you. We don't know what the fuck we're gonna uphold what is best for the people. If you got a discrepancy that she just got her license, she just got this, she just got that, but she said, oh, I've been here since May 2025. Okay, but your boy just sworn in the office. You still mayor there. How you look still mayor, and as soon as you lose the election, you're like, oh, fuck, I've been looking at Fulton anyway. Here I come. And you go right over there, and you go ahead and hop to and get started, and she didn't deny it at all. Not that it's deniable, because you see it, but it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Did she come there with straight attitude, giving lip, giving problems, doing the ghetto shit, popping off? It's a required hearing, and I knew it was going to be a problem, and I knew they was on that bullshit when they supposed to, they didn't. I forgot who asked in the first meeting, why Stephanie not here? Well, she knew about the meeting. She could listen in on it. She could watch it, but I don't think she's gonna watch it. I mean, she's not required to watch it. Why wouldn't she watch it? It's about the fuck her. Even somebody asked, why wouldn't she watch it? But they was also questioning why we ain't invite her. Oh, somebody sent her the email. Also gave her another way of note. I forgot what the other method was, but I think they just said that she knew about it. But they said they sent her an email, and I said this is when they said this mess. But the email was sent to the wrong. It was a typo in the email, so it didn't go through. Okay, so they sent the email. What they say a week before. I could send an email to the wrong address right now, and I'll show you how quick they'll let me know that it ain't happening. And then they're gonna come back and hit you up 2 more times, and then they're gonna just drop it to remind you, hey, if you really wanted to send this, you could fix it and just send it to who you want to send it to. But just like this right here, I don't know nobody about that. So where's the incompetency? The office? Who sent the email? Who's responsible for sending the freaking email? How did you not know it didn't go through until you contacted her, I don't know, day before, the day of, and she said, I ain't get no email. And then I guess they verified the email addresses and blah, blah, blah. But how incompetent is the person? Is that a formal? Who's responsible for contacting people and let them know they're supposed to be at these things? Because they're having all that excuse or whatever. And then she, at that time, has not still given them the required information that they were asking for. I mean, it's just thing after thing. And they so lackadaisical with it. And I'm just like, do y'all know who you're letting it? No. Most of them don't. Some of them do. You should know who the fuck they are. That should be rule number 1. Know who this person is. Then let's work around that. Okay? What if you're Chester? Okay? And your goal in life is to make sure that a law gets put in place that if I choose a child or even a baby as my lover, that's a preference and it's legal. And yes, it's people who want to do that. Matter of fact, there's someone in office right now trying to do that. I just don't remember his name. And this kind of shit we put up with. Are you fucking kidding me? Because when they take $300, $400, $500 out your check every goddamn month, this is what you get. This and a bullshit in the White House. Bullshit ass government. You sit back and you just deal with that shit. That's some fucking bullshit. They slipped on so much. I could go on and on. But I'd rather do that with a replay to catch everything. And it's like, it doesn't even, because y'all ain't shit. To see so many people willing to see what she gonna do, give a chance. Bitch, you let the devil in, they ain't going nowhere. And it's bad enough already. I just can't. Let this dude talk, because I can't. I'm finna gather my shit so I can get back on the other side. Who's all in the chat? Let me see what y'all saying. Oh yeah, let me get you up out of here, you bitch ass nigga. Fuck you and your mama, bitch. Coming in my shit, talking shit. Hey Chris Green, what's up? Yeah. Suck on it, bitch. How about that? Fuck you think I am? I don't want to use your network, so can you get off? How can I get this shit on the screen?
Government has gotten so big that there's just so much money that flies around.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And it is really hard to track these things down.
Shit,
You've got a
this
guy
shit
like
ain't
Nick
even
Shirley
worth it.
going and exposing the Leering centers. And then you've got, the COVID era fraud that happened here that took them 5 years to uncover these elected officials here in Georgia that were involved. And now finally we have, another indictment here in Macon. I'm actually heading down to Macon today.
Oh, wow.
I'm kind of curious to hear what the buzz is down there about the indictment of.
Who called me? Okay. So the video shouldn't stop. What? I'm not getting. Shut up. Asking me stupid questions early in the morning, just out of the blue.
Of their elections.
Shut your ass up.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's shocking even more so to see not only that it went unnoticed for so long, but that it's actually, being looked over in some instances because, that's just who she is, which is, it's interesting. Even in addition to that, we were covering recently what was going on with the Tiffany Henyard situation. I don't know if you've been up to date on that, just with her being able to run here and a lot of the same things being said there. It's like, well, that was just part of the past. Everything that happened back in Chicago or happened in Illinois is not a big deal. And it seems like certain parties, certain people just get, they get a pass because of who they're affiliated with or where they come from. It's interesting.
Yeah, this election supervisor showed up to work after she was indicted. I mean, she's working. She will be in charge of the election. Voting starts next week. So she's under an indictment for fraud. Her clerk is under indictment for fraud. And the county commissioner is saying, well, everything's okay. She's the same person she always was.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Meanwhile, the people of in Macon are going to go vote, and they're supposed to trust the election as, fair and above board. And there's plenty of reasons to be questioning the elections here. And stuff like this is really just, it's shameful. If you're indicted as an elected official, or an appointed official, or a government employee, you should have to resign immediately, or at least go without pay immediately while you're going through the legal process.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue into just the conversation of voting specifically in Georgia. We had a lot of conversations about the status of voting in Georgia and moving into 2026. I mean, there's so much going on. A lot of the work that you did in Senate, trying to get some of these bills through that didn't make it as far as we would have liked. I mean, we could talk about what's going on with the QR codes. It's just, I want to hear your thoughts on this upcoming election, specifically when it comes to the QR codes and how we're actually going to vote. I mean, what are you hearing? What is the process looking like for voters here in Georgia?
So we've got a looming deadline of July 1st, where by Georgia law, we need to get rid of the QR codes. And functionally, what that means is getting rid of the Dominion machines or replacing all the printers.
Right.
Because the machines are not capable as they stand now because the secretary has refused to update the software. We're using 8-year-old software in the machines still, even though there's all these known vulnerabilities that the Department of Homeland Security has exposed. There is not a plan right now as to what we're going to do. So Governor Kemp came out and basically said he's got his lawyers looking at the law, what the provisions are. There is an emergency provision in the law that allows local elected officials to move towards hand-marked paper ballots.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the governor's team is going to point us towards that. It seems like the state election board is in the midst of those conversations right now. But my frustration, Eric, frankly, is that this can got kicked down the road. There was no plan. We tried to pass a bill out of the Senate on crossover day, came up short, passed it out, 8 legislative days or so later. But then we got, a bill that was sent to us from our colleagues across the hall on the very last day. And I really, in my 8 years in the General Assembly, have grown frustrated with the culture of waiting till the last 2 or 3 days to move the important measures.
Yeah.
This was an important measure. The income tax this year was an important measure. Property taxes were an important measure. The budget was an important measure. All 4 of those things were passed in the waning hours of the legislative session. I think the whole thing needs to be turned on its head. I think if something matters, you should vote on it in the first 20 days. I think that the Republican Party, we have a trifecta in the state. We should be laying out an agenda of the things that we want to do. The House should pass half of that agenda. The Senate should pass half of the agenda. End the infighting of whether something's a House bill or a Senate bill because nobody cares.
Yeah.
We're far too obsessed with the inner capital goings on that frankly nobody knows that we even exist, and they certainly don't know whether something's a House bill or a Senate bill. But there's a lot of people that get caught up on that on that process inside the building, and it just doesn't matter. And the election bill, I think, is a victim of waiting till the last minute to try to get something done.
Yeah, and that goes to speak to the culture here, just about prioritizing even what the people want. I know you've heard from people on the show, you've heard from people that you've talked to, and we've even had poll workers in the comments, and I've had conversations with them speaking about how frustrating it is because they haven't even heard from the Secretary of State's office on what we're going to do moving forward with voting. They said, yeah, we had a meeting, I went through the training, and there was maybe one section where using paper ballots was mentioned. They said we're going to bring in some hand paper ballots and see how it goes, but still with no guidance at all. It's just amazing, and it's frustrating to see. I can imagine the conversations you have on your end in Senate as well.
Yeah, this isn't hard. Election integrity is not hard.
Yeah.
2/3 of Americans vote on a hand-marked paper ballot. Georgia is the only state in the union where we have statewide use of Dominion machines. So moving the needle on this is something that should have been quick and swift. I would like to have gotten to other important measures that we could have done, like batch serializing the ballots so that we ensure that no rogue ballots make their way into the stacks of paper. I would have loved to have seen us address the Dropbox issue. I think they need to go away. I would have liked to have seen serious conversation on getting rid of no excuse absentee voting, having people go vote in person, because that is unquestionably the most secure way that you can verify who the individual is. We of course need provisions for the military and the elderly under that scenario. I would like to have seen us look at increasing the audits that we do and the efficacy of those audits. There's a lot of things that we could have been talking about, but we get mired down in a lot of stuff like naming Brunswick stew the official stew of the state of Georgia. And that's important to the people, I guess, of the area of Brunswick. I'm not trying to denigrate that necessarily, but what I am saying is I do think that is a far distant 3rd or 4th place to income taxes, property taxes, and election integrity.
Yeah, and again, one of the biggest things that we've talked about as well is what's going on
Yeah.
with the registration process, just starting at the beginning, whether that be opt
Yeah.
out or, you know, people who aren't legally allowed to vote being able to vote, are moving to another state and voting still here in Georgia. We can get into SB 463 in a second, but I know you've mentioned multiple times John Ossoff and his stance on how the voting works. We talked about the Save Act, and it's just frustrating to hear somebody that just seems so conflicted and not understanding how impactful doing voter registration the right way is.
The hypocrisy is insane. So he had a rally in Augusta this past weekend, and he had to do a couple of things to attend his rally. And these make sense. These are things you should need, that you want to do for security. We want the senator to be safe. So what did he do to ensure his own safety? He required registration, and he required that when you showed up, you were able to prove that you were the person that signed up. How did you prove that? With a government issued photo ID. And we have said in Georgia that we believe that people should have to register to vote, prove that they are who they say they are, and when they show up to vote, that they can prove that the person that showed up is the person that signed up. But when we passed voter ID law for absentee voting a couple of years ago, Ossoff came out heavily opposed to it.
So if he don't have to have a government driver's license, Georgia. What about ID? It's identification. We need to identify suspicious. First of all, what was her name? Julie. What she saying? I mean, you want to be on it. You want to be elected. How about you need to be a legal resident. Okay, you need to do it legally. Be by the law. You can't be ghetto and say, I know I'm supposed to change my license over. I'm finna donate it to the drivers. I'm just gonna get one. This one, I gotta see if it's good, cause I don't know. We about my little spot where I used to help out at and got a food box. I'm gonna leave it here with the drivers. I almost knocked my nail off. Give them a little tip, because they do that. They run that out of there. She did that honor her mom. And they give out food boxes 3 days a week. And it don't matter. You just come in and sign up, put your county, get your box. It all goes to my belly.
He's opposed to the Save Act, which requires that you prove that you're an American citizen, and that when you show up, you have a government-issued photo ID, just like you have to do when you attend his rallies. These are 90-10 issues. It's almost indefensible. There's no logical argument.
I'm going to play that shit back. But somebody literally said Tiffany can vote here with her Illinois ID.
I've heard as to why you should not be required to show a photo ID. Eric, I brought the Save Amendment here in Georgia because I got tired of waiting on John Thune and the lackluster Republicans in the Senate to get this done. And so when I brought this to the floor of the Georgia State Senate, just to do it here in Georgia, require that only United States citizens can vote in our elections and that you have a photo ID, every single Democrat voted against it. So they're all in. They were all in on open borders, and I think that you can tie them being all in on fighting photo ID with them being all in on open borders, because I believe that they get an electoral advantage when people are here in this country illegally, and when you do not require people to show a photo ID. That should be in the Constitution of the state of Georgia, which is what we were trying to do. They voted against it with Senate Bill 202.
I'm getting fatter back here. Damn. It don't want to play. You two been doing that lately. They put their mama foot in this shit.
This year with the Constitution, they've shown their true colors. The media runs air cover for them, so most people don't recognize the disconnect between where the vast majority of Americans are and where every elected Democrat is. And frankly, it's shameful.
Yeah, and I mean, we've heard from multiple Democrats, whether that's Warnock or Ossoff, just speaking as to, it's just going to put such a burden on people if we move this way, if we go with the SAVE Act. How are the married women? The married women, they don't know what they're doing. They're not.
They didn't have it. How can you not know what you're doing as a married woman? You could prove easily, this is why my name is changed, and you can change all that. You're supposed to anyway. If your married name changes, then it's supposed to change on your identification, all that. There's no, absolutely no. It wasn't an inconvenience or anything when you was doing all that shit to keep black people from voting. When you was like, oh, they gotta take a nigga test, and if they can't pass this nigga test, then they don't qualify. They can't read and write enough to vote. But bitch, you didn't want them to read and write. Remember, you beat them, you killed them if they did. Now they gotta pass a nigga test and they can barely read. That's how you get blocked.
Able to register to vote, but we can see and clearly see that there's a reason they want to leave the voting open, unprotected, although John Ossoff's going to be protected at his rallies, but the voting, we'll just leave that unprotected. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, first it was black people, they were incapable of getting an ID. Right. Then it was farmers. They said the people in rural Georgia who didn't have access to photocopy machines. And now it's women that are incapable of proving who they are after they get married. I mean, they move from one ridiculous argument to the next. But Warnock is a fantastic example to me.
Yeah.
And talked about the voter registration. Well, in Georgia, you have to register to vote at your home address. And you can't use a homeless shelter. You can't use a UPS store. You can't use a church. Well, sure enough, there's someone registered to vote using Raphael Warnock's church address. Oh, no. Illegal voter registration. I went out and shot a video in front of the church.
That's amazing.
Still waiting for a response from the good senator slash pastor, and I'm not sure if he ever saw my video or not. But what I do know is that is one example of thousands and thousands of people in Fulton County. They're registered to vote using UPS stores, pack mail stores, storage units. We've got people registered to vote underneath overpasses, in empty lots, in abandoned homeless shelters that haven't been open for close to a decate. These Democrats that are fighting us on this in the state capitol can open their office window and look across the street and see a voting location where hundreds of people are registered illegally to vote. They just refuse to do anything about it.
Yeah, and I want to get into a little bit SB 463, just with the registration, because again, this is something that seems like an easy fix. We had 268, we even had 214. I
don't think someone who is homeless is going to prioritize going down there to vote.
We're going to address some of those issues, but now something you sponsored with 463. I wanted to ask specifically about what it would look like moving forward with this registration, because again, this election cycle, probably not going to see anything happen this election cycle, but moving forward, where do you see the biggest thing that 463 is going to address when it comes to registration?
Yeah, so on the registration side, referencing what I just told you, we've seen a number of these voter challenges where we have basically these activists. It's not even the Secretary of State or government officials that are doing the due diligence to find these illegal voters. It's guys like Jason Frazier and Kevin Moncla that have gone out. Derek Somerville is another example. Eric Davis is another example. Mark Davis. That have get them to take this issue seriously is by hitting them in their pocketbook. That bill didn't pass. If we go back into a special session to deal with election issues, I'd like to see that tacked on to whatever bill can be passed.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because we actually talked to Janelle King a couple of weeks ago, and she mentioned hearing rumors of a special session. Let's just say, I'm not going to ask you if that's going to happen, but if it were to take place, what are some of the things that you specifically would want to bring up or see addressed during that special session, and that could potentially be addressed when it comes to voting?
Yeah, I would say everything that was in 463 is what I would like to see done. I would like to see accountability for voter rolls. I would like to see batched serialized ballots so that rogue ballots can't make their way in. I would like to see an increased and more robust audit process in place. And I would like to see us vote on hand-marked paper ballots this year. I do not want to kick the can down the road to 2028. When we were first made aware of the vulnerabilities in the Dominion machines, I was on vacation and I specifically remember talking to the Secretary of State's team, talking to Republican leadership. This is 3.5 years ago. And we have done nothing to work around the vulnerabilities in terms of updating the software. We have mitigated things in terms of restricting access to the machines and doing some other testing that's downstream of the vulnerabilities. But we should not have Georgians voting on a voting system that no other state is using. And the reason that no other state is using it is multifold, but one of the reasons is because the Department of Homeland Security told us to update the software. Now, I want to get rid of the machines altogether, but if you're going to have the machines, don't be making us vote on election equipment that's got known vulnerabilities from the Department of Homeland Security in the midst of people already having massive distrust of the election process. We have to restore election integrity and confidence in the elections. It's a bedrock of this democracy and this constitutional republic. And it's far overdue for Georgia. And frankly, it's getting frustrating waiting on the people that are in the leadership roles that can make this happen to actually make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if we look into the status of the SAVE Act, it's amazing to me to see how much pushback there has been against the SAVE Act. Again,
can I talk about the SAVE Act for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the American people gave President Trump a mandate, and they gave President Trump and the Republicans a trifecta. We control the House, we control the Senate, and we control the presidency. The SAVE Act is like a low bar of what we should be doing. And we can't even get that done. John Thune apparently is coming back from a 2-week vacation. And
one thing about Fulton County also, the size. Okay, did y'all take American government? At least, I'm sure we all did, right? The size and amount of people, that's one of the reasons they had the beef back then about counting the slaves. Wanting to count the slaves as part human so that they could count towards the credits of showing up as a citizen and qualifying. So on paper, your place can get, your state and all that, you can get funding and stuff, because they divvy that up and approve you and of how much by how many citizens you have. And they didn't require them to have to be able to vote in order to get counted, because they won't let them vote because they Negro slaves. But we gonna count them as 1/4 of a human each, because they ain't humans. They just our pets, our dogs, our workers, our big wenches. And we gonna work them in 1/4 of a human, and you get 1/4 credit per slave. Now, I'm sure that encouraged a lot more breeding of slaves, because you ain't got to feed them suckers. All right, but this is to be continued, because I'm finna ball out. Hello to the nice people in the chat. All right, potentially inappropriate messages are helpful. I know that. Let me see the message. I would love to bend you over. Steve, it's too early for that. Are you horny today? See, that's what I'm saying. What the hell wrong with y'all? Concerning for the solution. Okay, with your rhyme report, y'all be on something. Okay, we'll finish this up in a little bit. Okay, in a little bit.